Special dedication went out to my man Tigger. This is his sound here. This is jam hit with my man Mix. Yeah! Yeah! With my man Big Mike from the 5-0 crew. Right, young Mike. Come on. Say what? Yes, indeed. Yeah. One more time. Get on down, Calvino. Get on down, baby. Also, we got my man Donnell over there. Good to see you, baby. And what's your name, baby? Hello, Shannon. What's your name, bro? Sweet Bonita in here. Yeah, we got Lisa. Yeah, we know Sweet Lisa. Park Road. Say what, baby? Yeah! Come on! Come on! Happy birthday, Lisa. Yes, indeed. Also, we got Sweet Boozy and all the crew. Sing it down, yeah! Come on! Don't wanna blow the world.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Mignon Show. I want to thank you for tuning in. I have my beautiful celebrity co-host here, Miss Jewel.
Hey, peace everyone. Excited to be here, even though it's the last time.
Well, not the last
time,
just for this month. Because everybody knows that I have decided to use this platform and bring in a celebrity co-host every month to be able to highlight them and everything they have going on. So if that is you, if you have been thinking about hosting your own show, but you may be a little nervous or something like that, you can shoot me an email at Mignon, M-I-G-N-O-N, Anderson, the number 1, at gmail.com. And then you can come in and sit in this seat for 4 or 5 weeks. Okay?
Yes.
It's exciting, right?
It is exciting. I had such a great time, just in case I don't get to say it later, but it's been absolutely an extraordinary experience. I loved you outside of here. Now I think I might love you more.
Oh, she loves me.
So it's been a pleasure being here.
And I love it because, it brings so much different, styles and everything to the whole platform with everybody else. And I just love my girl. So, I had to get her in here quick and fast before her schedule gets booked up because I'm telling you, she's a real celebrity host. Real celebrity.
On a DL.
On the DL. So we just want to thank Miss Jewel. We've had an awesome time with her. We've had some pretty nice guests on here.
We have had some beautiful guests.
Yes.
And we'll continue
and
today
we'll
as well.
continue. Yes, we have a beautiful guest in the studio today. I mean, guys,
Powerful.
she's doing phenomenal work out in the community. So, but before we get to her, we're going to, have our little girl chat.
Yes, our little girl chat.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little different today. We're going to talk about our weekend since we've had an awesome weekend.
I have to say I had a fantabulous weekend. So, and I will use this time to really highlight something I'm big on is sisterhood and friendship and just those little things that matter. I think a lot of times that we forget. Y'all know me, I always get a little personal. So Friday, I was having such a hard day. It was one of those days where I felt heavy and I almost felt a little broken. I did. And I was invited to go out of town. And at first I was like, no, I don't want to go for so many different reasons. But my very good friend was like, oh no, you're going. So we made that happen. I ended up at Virginia Beach.
Yes.
And they had the Funk Fest going on. And it was amazing. And we ended up staying at this condo. It was a beautiful condo, updated, and I walked in like, ah. So I was basically I got to breathe, and it was like that reset button that I needed. Definitely I meditated at least 5 times, got back into my yoga. Anybody that knows me knows I'm really big about working out. And I fell off this month, but I'm back on now. But had an amazing time. But I tell you, one of the highlights, besides my yoga, if you can imagine 5 women, different shape sizes, and just with this beautiful energy, and we're walking, and as we were leaving the Funk Fest, it was the SOS band, so off the hook. So we're walking, and there's a big pit fire, and there are like 15 men, 15 black men, just eating, laughing, and couldn't help but to say hi, right? So we're walking and saying hi, and then long story short, they invited us to come in and to sit with them.
Okay.
So nothing that we would normally do, but let me tell you, it was such an amazing feeling to be around classy men.
Yes.
They weren't ignorant, but they were fun. Let me just say, I got danced out, and anybody that knows me, I will get on the dance floor, and I'm good. This joker had me on the floor. His legs was going one way. His hips were going another way, and I was done. I was like, sir, I need to go sit down. He's looking at me like, you're going to leave me? I had to go, but it was clean. There was no extra touching, but it was so beautiful to see these professional men. A lot of them were police officers.
Oh. From Virginia Beach area?
Well, actually, it was a group of men that came down to the Virginia Beach area. They do this every year, and they were camping. They were camping, and they came out for dinner, and it was just, once again, such a beautiful, beautiful experience to be around great men who were respectful and just wanted to have a good time. And the word on the street is we just might meet them again next year at the dinner table, just because it was like I said, the thing that gets me, it was respectful, it was nice, and these were great men with grandchildren, with children, and just living their lives with being responsible. And they were from Baltimore to Georgia to North Carolina. Like, it was a spread of them. So to all the great men, especially the black men, I have to say that I appreciate you for reminding me how great men can be.
Oh, now
So
that right
I
there
have to
is
say
big.
that.
So that's, that was
huge.
awesome. Yeah.
Huge.
Wow. I like that.
No, yeah, look, I thought about
I like to
you.
being
I was
around
like,
grown men, right?
grown men, yes.
Grown men. We like grown men. They sexy.
Grown men, yes, they
Grown
are.
men sexy.
Yes,
Ooh.
they were.
I'm getting all flustered just thinking.
I did not get any numbers because I know somebody's gonna ask. No,
Right.
and that was the nice part. Like, it really was just an open conversation. We were talking about life, talking about accomplishments, things that we want to do, things that we have done, and it was clean. It was clean.
Nice, clean fun.
Nice, clean fun, and we laughed and enjoyed each other's company as grown men and women. So yeah,
That sounds awesome. That's the type of fun I like to have.
yeah. So I came back Monday like, yes, life is still
Life
good.
is good. And then just being around the water, it's so therapeutic.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So did you get some answers to some things that you have been thinking about?
Boy, did I. I really did. Like I said, it was really a reset. Sometimes you may know the answer within your heart, but with everything going on, I have 5 children, going back to school, sports, a grandbaby, and then making some serious big life decisions that change your life. I needed that time. I needed, so literally sat by the water and just took it all in. But I came back with answers that I'm not turning back on. So love it. Yeah, it was great.
I love it, because when you told me you were going, I thought that was such an awesome idea. I was really happy for you with that, because I was like, when you get around water, it just opens you up. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes things be cloudy, but it's one thing about that water. When you get around water, it's like the thoughts and your conscious and everything just open up. It's like everything aligns.
Yes.
When you get around water.
It's free. It just literally goes with the tide, with everything that's going around it, and it just flows. It just flows. And it speaks a lot to women, actually, how we work. So, yeah. I'm so happy I went.
Oh, wow.
So happy.
Dang, I don't know if I can top that, but I did have a good weekend.
What you did?
I did. Well, of course, I do my practices every Sunday for the play that I'm in, The Ties That Bind.
Yes.
I will be debuting in my first stage play on September the 22nd. And it will actually be 2 shows in one day. So, I'm definitely being stretched. I'm really being stretched in this because, I haven't really did anything like this since like grade school.
Wow.
But I always loved doing it. So, yesterday I went in there, I turned it out. I really learned how to just like bring my character alive. When they say, when it comes to acting, like you got to become that person.
Yeah.
And you really do, to get into that mindset of that person. And it's just so fun just to pretend to be somebody else. And like when I get there, I'm automatically Nadine. If somebody say Nadine, I'm like, huh? I'm on it. But then once I leave out of there, it's Mignon. They can be saying Nadine. And I'm like, because it's funny among actors is that they'll start calling you your character's name. Everybody be like, oh, that's because like it was one girl that I do a part with, her name in the play is Melinda. And everybody kept calling her one. They kept on saying, Melinda. And she wasn't paying them not a bit of attention. And I was like, because that's not her name. They was like, oh, yeah, I keep forgetting. Because you get so accustomed to calling them that. But I am excited about this play. I really am.
I'm excited for you, and I'm going to be there.
Yes, you will. And every time I kept on saying this whole month that I was going to bring your ticket. And give it to you. But I have another
recorded.
And it's funny because your ticket is on my dresser and I took it out, but I have other tickets, but I'm going to give you one out of my purse so you can have your ticket. Because I don't know what may happen when I may. Oh, yeah, but I'll see you Thursday, but don't count on that. I can come see you Thursday with the ticket in my pocketbook and still go home with it. So you got to remind me.
I will.
But I am just so excited about that. And also, when we had Lavelle Long here, he the producer of The Giz. And so, when he was here, he said that he definitely wanted to come to the play and everything. And he reached out to me again today. And he was like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to support you. And I was like, awesome, because, when he was talking about his program that he had for actors and everything, and how he wanted to be able to support other playwriters and, and maybe be able to help them get along to where they're going. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be able to introduce the director and writer of my play with him for someone who's already done something, so phenomenal.
Indeed.
So I'm just excited. And then also yesterday I was on Radio 1.
Hey.
I was on the Archie Blaslow show. Shout out to Archie.
Hey, Archie.
It was a great show. Me and my girlfriend, Shawnetta Bennett. Shout out to Shawnetta. She the one who made that happen for me. And it was a great show. But you know what? Yesterday, let me tell you what I did. I decided to catch the Metro up there. Oh my goodness. I haven't been on the Metro in probably like 20 years. Got on the Metro, and this weekend they had track work. I got off at Federal Triangle, had to get on a shuttle to Fort Totten. Got to Fort Totten, had to get off again. No, wait a minute, not Fort Totten. Where did I go? Metro Center. Federal Triangle to Metro Center. Got on the train at Metro Center, had to get back off, catch another shuttle to Fort Totten. And then, you know, they got these little cards now that you got to pay $2 for the card and then pay your fare.
Yes.
So Metro was just chaos. It was so chaotic. You know, they told you get off the train, you tap it twice, then that way you can still continue your ride all the way through. Girl, I got to Fort Totten. I met the worst lady. Her name is L.M. Thomas. She is the station manager at Fort Totten. She's the meanest, nastiest woman I've ever met in my life.
What did she do?
I told her that I had my fare card, whatever that card is, and that, you know, I explained to her where I got on the train at, and I got off and had to get on the shuttle and all these things. I said, and I don't have enough fare to continue my ride. She said, well, then you got to pay again then. I said, excuse me? I said, I'm not paying again. I said, I already paid for this ride. I said, now the other station managers, he told me, he said, you know, just go through the gate because it's all messed up.
Right.
He said, it's all messed up, so just go through the gate. So what happened, I'm standing there, and I started talking to this other paying customer for Metro, and he was expressing how they were doing the same thing to him. And then she got into my conversation, and she was very nasty to me. And then she ended up going to get Metro police. She went and got the police on me. So the police, they came over and they was talking to me, and I told them everything what was going on. And so what the police officer did, he took my card. He said, well, let me take your card because everything is tracked on these cards. And let me just see. So he went over there and he put the card in, and he said, well, I don't understand what the problem is. It's saying that she got on at Benning Road. She had to go to these different places. She's trying to still get to her destination of Silver Springs, so what's the problem? He opened the gate and he said, you come on through. And I looked at her, and there was a black woman. And I said, why couldn't she do that for me? Why couldn't she just take my card and just say, oh, yeah, and you know I'm already being inconvenienced of what's going on.
And she was the manager?
She was the station manager in the booth.
That bothers me.
That bothers me. I called one of my other girlfriends who was a manager for Metro, and I had her on the line, and she was like, she's wrong. She's not supposed to do that. And I told her, I said, you know what? I'm going to file a grievance against her.
Yep.
I definitely am, because it was so uncalled for. And I said, you mean to tell me that all she had to do is take my card and read it, and it would have told her where I came from, what time I entered the station, and all that? Girl, I tell you, it was such a bad experience. But I dealt with that, and then I went on to my radio show, and I did the show, and it was great. And I just kept saying, I kept on thinking, I kept saying to God, I said, you know what? I don't even want to go back home on this Metro. But it was a good thing because me and my girlfriends, we had decided that after the show we was going to have dinner in Silver Spring.
Okay.
So my other girlfriend was like, oh, you didn't drive? I said, no, girl, the worst day I didn't drive. She was like, don't worry about it. I'll take you. You don't have to endure that again. And then she just retired from Metro.
Wow.
And she said the same thing. She said, reporter.
And you should.
Yeah.
Especially in one of my long-term jobs. I've been in management, believe it or not, since I was 19 years old. And that is a huge responsibility. I don't care how big the venue is or not. You set a standard. And if you're not teaching your employees, the people that you work with, like, what example are you setting? Because now they're going to start mimicking you, especially Metro. That is huge.
Huge. So I asked my girlfriend as the manager, I said, so what will happen if I send this grievance in? They said, oh, Metro don't play. They're going to call her in. They're going to call her in.
And is it worth it?
Yeah.
To be a good human being, basically, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, but you know how I felt? I felt like it was just directed to me because I was a woman and I was an African American. I was like, if I would have been of any other nationality, she would have took their card and let them. I just felt that in my spirit with her because I was like, why is she so angry?
Right.
Like, why are you so angry that people are at this booth telling you that they can't get in, they did this? Like, if anything, and I've been in management as well, and you know, you want to make sure you take care of your customers because you want them to come back.
Yes.
So, and like I had to tell her, I said, you know, you are their representative. She said, yeah, but this ain't my company.
Oh,
I said, but you're the representative of this company. Yeah.
Like, seriously, because when you lose that type of connectivity with people, your job, It's not for you anymore.
It's not for you anymore. And that's what I said. I said,
and you need to recognize that.
Yep.
You need to recognize that, and it's okay. Just find that thing that you are connected to.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
So they will be hearing from me. And L.M. Thomas, you definitely made my day yesterday very memorable.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very. But on another note,
but she still had a great weekend.
I still had a great weekend. She didn't ruin it. Still had a great weekend. Still had a great weekend.
Awesome.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to have our phenomenal guests at the table. So we thank you for watching the Mignon Show. I am Mignon, and this is my co-host, Jewel, and we'll be right back.
Oh, y'all like this right here, huh? Y'all feeling good? Make some noise. Come on. Yeah. Shout out to all the sexy. Would you say for me too smooth? Satina and Keena and Kenya.
child grows up to be like somebody that just might love to burn, you know what I'm saying? You see, mama loves the both of these children. Hey, you see it's in the blood, y'all. I like both kids are so good to mama. You see, blood's thicker than the love. It's a family affair. Family affair now. Yeah, it's a family affair, y'all. It's a family affair now. Oh, we love you. One child grows up to be somebody that just loves to learn. Yeah. And another child grows up to be somebody that just loves to burn. Yeah. You see, mama loves the both of them now. Ah, you see it's in the blood. Hey, hey, you're looking good now. You see, both kids are so good to mama. Hey, you see, the blood is thicker than the mud. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Yes, it is. One big family. Yeah, it's a family affair now. It's a family affair now. That's what it is, one big family, baby. I like a newlyweds, I like a year ago. Still checking each other out. Yes, indeed. See, nobody wants to blow now. Or nobody wants to be left out. Yeah. Now you can't leave, 'cause your heart is there. And you can't stay, 'cause you've been somewhere else. You can't cry.
Hello and welcome back to the Mignon Show. I am your host, Mignon.
And I am Miss Jewel.
And as you can see, we have our beautiful guest here at the table. So what I am going to do, I am going to let her introduce herself to us. So you have the floor. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Well, my name is Celine Meyong Krishack, and I work for an organization called Not a Runaway. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organization catered towards helping families find their missing. We do this in partnership with the missing child's family, the community, as well as the local police departments.
Beautiful. So can we ask you what inspired this work?
Well, we were inspired by my niece, Jolie Musa, who went missing in January. And after just, everything that we went through with that, we just felt compelled to want to help other people. We felt like the help that we did not receive, we would like to give to others, free of charge. One of the things that we noticed through our process was just trying to get the word out. Now, God put his hand on us because the way things worked for us was just not normal.
Okay.
We had a couple of things against us. Number one, she was 16.
Right.
She was a black girl. And, she was a teenager.
Yes.
Those are just the three things that we felt like worked completely against us. But however, God was good. He somehow helped us get our story out faster than anybody could have imagined. We were worldwide. Our story went worldwide. When I tell you viral, you've never seen viral quite as much as this. We had people from as south as South Africa to as north as Canada and across the world looking for her.
Wow.
Unfortunately, all of the efforts that we put for her through our social media page, had she not been found local, would have helped a lot of other people. So we feel that just what the movement that happened in that instance alone, it's something that would be very beneficial for another family.
Got it. And I definitely want to touch on this briefly because this touched me. It really did, because I literally remember I was getting dressed for work and I saw the initial report, and it was on the news station that I watch, and my heart dropped. It dropped. And to then later on actually connect with you, it meant so much to me because I know it was days. I personally posted it from what I saw, and just as a mother of teens especially, and with the work that I do, Mick does, it just really touched me. And unfortunately, I was very saddened to hear the news, but I am so happy in a way that you get to bring awareness and you continue the work behind something I know that is painful for you and your family.
She did not die in vain.
No.
You know, and as morbid as this might sound, I just feel like what happened to her was supposed to happen in the sense that it brought awareness to this silent epidemic. You know, there's so many teenagers that go missing every single day that we don't even hear about or even know about. They don't make the news, they don't make the papers, you know, nobody knows,
Right.
you know, except for the few who are lucky enough to get an Amber Alert.
Right.
I think I can count on one hand how many Amber Alerts I've received this year.
Yeah.
You know, but then if you go to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and you look at their website, and you see how many kids go missing from each state, you know,
Daily.
every day.
Yes.
I mean, your jaw would just drop. You know, and then you ask yourself, what makes us so special? You know, why did our story get so much recognition? And we got that from people who were on our social media site. Like, what makes Jolie so special? What about my child? My child didn't get anything, you know, and I feel for them. And I'm sorry that your child didn't get anything, you know, but at the same time, I feel like her story and so many other stories like her that have made the news is to raise awareness for this.
And so, Celine, can you give our audience a little background on Jolene of what actually happened, what was her story was, just to bring them up to date?
Well, I can't go into too much details because it is still an active investigation. But what I can tell you what has been made public, and that is that she went missing on January 12th. We reported her missing on January 13th. By January 14th, we were able to make our story known to the public through Channel 9 News. If you guys remember, that was the first news station that actually gave us a chance, mind you. This woman was not allowed to run our story because she was told that was not a story.
Wow.
Because she ran away.
Right.
She was labeled a runaway, must I say. So she fought. And when I tell you God is good, you've all seen this woman. I'm not going to call her name out. She's your typical, Caucasian woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, just what you don't expect to be helping you. But she fought tooth and nail, could have lost her job to get our story out.
Yeah.
And she did, by the grace of God.
I have some great friends over at Channel 9 too that helps me get my story out as well. So yeah, shout out to Channel 9.
Yes.
And
if it wasn't for them, no other news channel would have followed, because once that story went viral on Facebook, if you remember, we had everybody and their mother knocking on our door. But yeah, shout out to Channel 9, and we are forever grateful, to the woman that ran our story and still continues to champion our story to this day.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you are bringing awareness to this, because I was talking about this with another partner of mine, and we were talking about the whole aspect of when you report a teen missing and how they label them as a runaway, and they don't even start looking for them. They don't even start look. They're like, well, we'll give them a few days and maybe they'll come home. I'm like, maybe they'll come home, and you're just going to assume that they ran away?
Well, because it's a teenager, okay?
Right.
Teenagers have what you call freedom of movement, okay?
A teenager.
A teenager. So
Freedom of movement.
freedom of movement. So because they can leave and go out whenever they want, and a lot of them sometimes throw tantrums and, you know, are fighting with their parents, or things aren't going good in school, so they just pack a bag and they run away for a little while and then they come back. You know, that does happen. Let's not be oblivious to this. This definitely does. This scenario does happen. But what about the scenario where the child does run away, okay, but then something happens?
Yeah.
You know, they get abducted on the way there, or their friend is like, come and spend a night at my house. I got you. But that friend is a setup
Yes.
Like
to
it's
get
huge.
you picked up by somebody else.
Huge.
You know, those are very real scenarios that I don't feel that, you know, law enforcement takes under account. And to their defense, their hands are tied in a lot of instances, okay, because they have a process that they have to follow also. And unfortunately, the process is not all encompassing. Okay, so you have the Amber Alert. Because your child because your child is missing does not mean that they will automatically get an Amber Alert, unless, of course, they're under 10 years old. And even that is not guaranteed, because if they go missing by a mother or a father, okay, they might not be reported. That's not going to go viral, because as far as they're concerned is that that child is not in imminent danger. So there's 3 criteria. Your child has to be within the age of, you know, 0 to 17 years old, depending on the state. Some states have 14 or 16 as their criteria. Some go up to 18 as their criteria. The second thing is the police has to assume that your child is in imminent danger. In our case, you all saw the video. She looked happy leaving the house. She didn't look like she was in imminent danger. That was probably the only criteria that we didn't check off on, okay? The third is that a physical abduction had to have been witnessed. Okay?
I did not know that.
Somebody had to have seen your child get abducted, unless, of course, they're under the age of 10. Somebody had to have seen your child get abducted. So nobody saw my niece get abducted. She was under the age of 17. However, she was not viewed as having been in imminent danger. And until that little checkbox was checked off, no alarms should be sounded for her.
So how do the police determine imminent danger?
They base it off of evidence, whatever they see, you know, whatever it is that you can give them. Let me add a caveat to that. The platform of abduction has changed, right? We are living in the 21st century. We have social media, we have cell phones, we have all these other things that are at our disposal, okay? So the usual grab and snatch is not always going to happen, right? Our kids are being lured now by different ways.
That's right.
Right? So I believe Jolie was abducted, okay, somehow, some way. But no one saw her getting abducted. It's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, did it fall?
Right.
Of course it fell.
Right. Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
She was abducted. But, you know, that's the sad fact. A lot of parents are having to deal with this problem, having to prove that their child was abducted, having to prove that their child is in imminent danger. As a parent, and you all are parents, you know your child, okay? You know when something doesn't seem right. When you're telling a cop or law enforcement that your child is missing and you are crying and fearful for her life, there's something wrong. How dare you as a law enforcement look at me and tell me that my child is not in imminent danger?
Exactly. That's my whole thing. I'm like, how do they even tell you that?
How
or
is that even
determine that?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is.
So as a community, it's like some work that we need to do. We need to change some laws
We
of
sure
how they
do.
look at this.
Yes, we do. We need to change some laws. And the beauty is every law enforcement that we have talked to agrees that something does need to be changed.
Yes.
Their hands are physically tied, unfortunately. They want to go out there and look for your child, but some of them can't. You know, I think we were talking earlier, you've got the lack of resources. You know, you've got that stringent criteria of the Amber, the Amber Alert that is so confined to these 3 things, and about these 3 things, we don't have a problem. You know, those are all, I feel, roadblocks to helping us bring home our missing. You know, these kids aren't just going off on their own. Not all of them are. And even the ones that are going off on their own, if they're under 18, you need to worry. Because they are my responsibility. You're telling me that an 18-year-old child cannot drink. And if they're caught drinking, they're in trouble. But yet my child can leave the house and not come back for 24 hours?
Yeah, that's the part
And
I don't
there is
understand.
nothing wrong?
And give me that terminology again.
Freedom of movement.
Freedom of movement. How many do the parents, like, did you ever know of anything like that?
No, I actually
Me
did
neither.
not.
I have
did
never
not.
heard of anything like that for a teenager.
Yeah, no.
That they have the freedom of movement.
And it's hard at night, just listening to you. And like we've worked with like the different police departments and working to, especially for our teens. But it comes down to the community, a big part of it. And I have to put out there, especially because of social media, because of so many outlets that we have. And this is a personal assessment, a personal thought. If you cannot go to the police, start with your family and grow it out. Grow it out. But just whatever you can do, just don't give up.
Yeah, you
Don't
can't
give
give
up.
up. And now I understand why so many parents get frustrated. You know, when they put in these calls to the police when their children are missing. I remember earlier the story of the guy. His name was he was an adult, but his name was Marty McMillan, and he was lured away by someone off of one of the social dating sites, and they didn't even want to look for this man. They didn't even want to look for him. It took his grandmother hitting the streets and found his car.
It's hard.
You know, and then they found his body. I think it was off for $295 somewhere. They had found his body, but they didn't give them any help.
There's a 3-hour window after a person goes missing, at which point after that, they're most likely going to be dead.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be trafficked out of the country, depending on the
Ooh,
type
that
of
just gave a
abduction.
chill through my whole body.
So just picture this. You don't find out that your child is, put it this way, you give your kid a 6 o'clock curfew, right? You get home at 6:30. They're not there. An hour goes by. They're not calling. They're not there. You start to panic. The law enforcement that we spoke to all said, do not wait. When you feel something is wrong, call. They want to know immediately because you do have a short window of opportunity. However, now you're in 2 hours, okay? And then 3, depending on where you live. How quickly will the cop get there,
they
right?
get there.
How quickly will they get there to come and take your report? And what mood will that cop be when he gets there? You know, because the judgment call is ultimately the person that comes to interview you about that missing child.
Wow.
So that police person is the one that determines, okay, whether or not you have checked off every single box. And if they feel, the most important question, if your child is in imminent danger. If they don't get that feeling for whatever reason, you are going to go in a file somewhere.
Wow.
One thing that they do have to do when a child is reported missing is they do have to file a report with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. But if you think about it, that's just a database. You are now one of million children in a database that you have to scroll through to see where your child is and who actually keeps track of these things. Who really goes on there and say, I'm going to look for these 3 today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look for these 3 today. Who does that? Nobody.
No one.
It is absolutely hard to, especially when you point out even the trafficking. I don't think a lot of people still get how one the window is, and what are other, I hate to say like this, but the possibilities and probabilities of it going somewhere else. And like there's so many layers and pieces in between that, but it takes you almost have to be aggressive about it. And it is so true, especially with your children, something, that bond that you have when you feel something, go with it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. And it's okay. If you're wrong, darn it, and they went out somewhere, it's okay, but at least you know they're safe, if they are safe. And if not, then let's get on it quickly.
Absolutely.
Well,
fix the problem.
There are a few things that you as a parent can do right now, with social media and stuff like that. Educate your kids,
Yes.
About the dangers of social media. There is the SOS button on every phone, both Android and iPhone. Find it. Learn how to use it. Some of them require double clicks. Some of them require or one click. But find it, teach them how to use it, so that if something happens, if they're walking down the street and they feel like somebody's following them, they can stick their hand in their pocket or pull their phone out and just, and that SOS goes out. The police will at least find their last known location, if anything, and begin to do the work from there. There's nothing worse than not knowing where they disappeared or, when they disappeared.
Right.
At least if you push that button, it'll immediately alert 911, and they will find you. They'll have a point of where you were at, and they will start working from there. So look into that. Find out how to use it. Teach your children how to use it. There's also other apps that you can use, like Life 360. That will help you at least locate your child. It's a tracking device on a phone, where you'll know where your child is at all times. You can check up on them. The downside with that is the kid can remove it. But what I've done with my son is I've sort of hidden it behind things. Those folders where you have like a whole bunch of stuff that come with the phone.
Yeah.
So I've put it in there because I know he would never go in that area. And so, it alerts me. Like there was one time where it was like, your child is not on the school grounds, but come to find out he was, but he was in a playground, and the playground was close to the highway. It was fenced, but he had run that way. And I'm watching it like, what? It's like 2 o'clock. Where is he at? And then I saw it come back on. And I'm like, okay, thank God. My goodness, who's taking my now 10-year-old kid out of school?
Yeah.
But that can be kind of scary. I think the important thing is knowing their last known location will help a lot, because it'll give law enforcement a starting point. Somebody there could have seen something, heard something, But if they don't know where to go or what to look for, it's going to be really difficult.
A lot of time. A lot of time.
That is good information, because I have never heard about the SOS.
Yeah, so definitely look forward to educating the students that we work with about that even some more, and the parents as well.
Yeah.
The parents as well.
It's probably the quickest way that you can save your life. If you
And every parent, they need to know that you guys need to look into this and download those apps. I think that's very important, especially when when you reach out to the police department and they don't have enough resources, then that's something that you can do. You can be like, I got this app on this phone. At least I will be able to know what was their last point destination of where they were. At least give you something
to start with. Right. Another thing is, make sure that you have a current picture of your child. A lot of parents don't take enough pictures of their children, and so when something happens, you're looking around to try to find the latest picture. An old picture of your child, on Snapchat doing, tongue movements and whatnot, it's not going to help them find your kid. So it is important that you at least snap a picture of them every so often, even when they're not even looking, so that you have something current. A picture a month is all. Okay. It can make a big difference, in helping at least getting a clear picture of your child. They don't want. Law enforcement told us they don't want glamour shot pictures, all this makeup. They don't want a lot of that. They just want your natural child, because it helps them put out a proper notification of what your child looks like. And a lot of parents, again, don't know that. Your teens are growing up. You don't know their height, their age. I mean, you know their age, but you don't know what hair color they have from one day to the next anymore because they're doing so many different things. Right. So, I mean, it's just be aware. I can't even stress that enough. I think this whole experience has just made me want to get closer to my child, learn what he is into. We had a panel of children that we had spoken to as part of our organization, and we asked these teenagers, what are some of the important things that you feel that would help your parents understand you and be able to help you? And it's so funny, some of the things that it's not funny, but it was like eye-opening in the sense that I didn't know teenagers wanted to communicate. I had no idea that they wanted to talk to us. But they want to talk to us. But they don't just want to talk to us. They want us to come educated. You're not going to tell them, don't drink this bottle of water. Why? Because it's not good for you. Well, why? Oh, well, because it's in a bottle. They want that information. They want them to know why they can't drink it. They want you to be armed with information. Otherwise, they're toning you out.
Absolutely.
And a lot of parents don't think about that. They also want you to learn their apps. They want you to understand what they're using. Snapchat. Don't tell me you don't like Snapchat. What about Snapchat specifically shouldn't I use? I just learned that there's actually security features on Snapchat. I didn't know that. Wow. Because in our instance, we found out that Snapchat removes information after 24 hours.
Yeah.
That whole history is gone.
Gone.
And that's the main tool that our teenagers use now.
Yeah.
So if I don't know that you're in danger for almost 24 hours, I can't retrace your steps on that.
That's right.
So there's so many things, and they want us to be educated. They want us to understand these apps. They want us to learn. They want us to sit down with them and have them show us how they use it. They want us to have real conversations with them that are educational and not just you can't.
Absolutely.
And always just keep those lines of communication open. Your child wants to trust you. They want to know that if they give you something, that you're not going to exploit it.
Right.
So get those passwords, because one of the things that we learned is that you, as a parent, do not have the rights to your child's cloud unless you know the username and password. And no law enforcement is going to give you that.
No.
Do you know that? The police can't get that for you.
They cannot.
Y'all hear that?
They can't get that for you. They'll tell you sorry. So all of that information, passwords to any accounts that they have, kids are creating accounts to give to their parents and accounts that they keep.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So they'll have like 5 or 6 Gmail accounts, okay? But the only one that is the one that says Lisa at, whatever her last name is, .gmail.com. That's the only one you know.
Yeah, you don't get the sexy little mama.
You don't get that.
You don't get sexy little mama at Gmail.
But those are the accounts that they use to open up those other accounts. Those other, what I call predatorial sites, where your kids can become victims.
Absolutely. And the hard part is, honestly, and just with working with teens and working with adults both, there's really no one right answer, which is, I think, the extra hard part. But take the time to get to know who your child is and really have that conversation with them based off who they are, not simply who you want them to be,
right? Not
simply who you expect them to be, and not off of who per se you are, and with just what your rules and regulations are. There has to be that proper balance where you might have to suck it up. And I'm not even being funny, and I find this a lot with my daughter. 5 children, I only have one daughter. And like you said, there were those moments. She was about 15, 16, that's that age, right? Between a lot of times 12 and 15, where, boy, it is crucial. You better learn who your child is.
Yes.
And even at those moments where, and pardon me for saying this, and I hope you guys get what I'm saying, that moment when you almost feel like, who is this? This is not my child. And you almost, in a sense, subconsciously are thinking, I don't even like this child. Remember, they're going through changes. Just like we went through changes, and you better get to know them. Yeah. You better get to know them
and be
aware of who they are, what they like, what they don't like. And my daughter, after that one good time, she got in that real good trouble. she said that. I want to talk to you. Things I didn't want to hear, but I had to suck it up and listen. Our relationship since then has been very open, and a lot of times you'll find that you'll get the conversations that you need to have, not particularly want to have, that you need to have in an event anything happens. And they're changing. They're changing.
They're changing, and that awareness, you know, you talk about, you know, teen violence, you know, and some of the things that our kids go through, like depression and, you know, being in abusive relationships and things like that. You know, just being aware of your child as they are changing, you can easily start to see something different, you know, in them. And, you know, kids, I'm not trying to say that every kid that is on Snapchat or on social media and stuff like that falls under any of those categories where they have low self-esteem or whatever, but some of them do, you know, and these predators are looking for those kids that are like, you know, talking about their bodies, or they're taking sexy pictures because they feel like that's what's going to make them look good or feel good or make them more popular or whatever. Those are signs. If your child is posting naked pictures of themselves on the internet, or half naked pictures of themselves on the internet, or let's say they're all dressed up but they're like lots of makeup and doing those types of faces that we all see a lot now, you need to worry about that.
Yes.
Okay, because that could be an underlying symptom of something much greater that can make her fall victim to these predators, you know. That is important.
It is.
And we don't pay attention to that. We just think our kid is trying to be cute. She's trying to get attention. She's so pretty, you know, and that's not always the case.
Yeah, and then you end up getting that wrong attention.
They get that wrong attention, you know. They fall into abusive relationships with their boyfriends. You know, I know we were talking about that earlier, you know, so many, this is all really all part of the same issue. I know that we were talking about missing teens, but some of them go missing because their boyfriends killed them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or their girlfriends killed them.
Yeah.
All right? You're thinking she's over her boyfriend's house, and this guy appears to be perfect whenever you see him. She could be getting beat up.
Yeah.
You know? And then when she goes missing, he's the first one there helping you look for her.
Yeah.
So it's that awareness that you really just have to see every single thing and every single changing part of them. You know, I'm so much more aware of my son now. I look at him and I'll be like, your voice sounds different. It's like, what do you mean my voice sounds different, Mommy? I sound the same. And I'm like, no, there's something different about that voice today, you know? Or I would look at him and it might be just a hair taller, but I'll look at him and be like, there's something you are taller, you know? And it's just me just becoming more aware of his changing body, his changing personality, you know, and just starting to look at some signs and see where do I need to work with him on, you know, what do we need to talk more about, you know? That's really all that is.
It definitely is. And as an advocate, as a mother, I truly do ask whoever's watching, grandparents, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, take that moment to learn the children that are in your lives. It's okay to have those, whatever conversation it is, please take the time and listen. And this may seem so little, but remember to compliment them.
Yes.
Remember to talk to them, not yell at them, not necessarily keep pointing fingers, you need to do this, you need to have a conversation. You have to wear those different hats. It's no different than any other relationship. It's not, you're their teacher, you're their mother, their father, at that time their friend, maybe make them feel like your bestie. I don't know, but you have to come in ready to switch hats. Switch hats and have those conversations.
And they need those affirmations.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
They definitely need them.
They definitely.
Because everybody needs an affirmation. Everybody.
And
Yeah,
you know,
I don't care.
And we're big on affirmations with teens.
Huge.
Big on affirmations with teens.
As adults, we sometimes forget who we are in a sense, or need that reminder. Imagine your child that's going through 1,000 changes a day.
Yes.
May feel stupid, but maybe the most intelligent one.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Have those conversations.
And parents have to really be careful how they talk to their children.
Yes.
You know, a lot of times the parents become the biggest bullies. The biggest bullies to children, to make them feel so much less of themselves, and that's where they started to lose that confidence at home.
Right.
They lose that confidence at home, and so when they do go out to the world do see them, and you have these predators, and they become victims.
Yes.
Because
Very
they can
easily.
see it in them. You know, they see the low self-esteem.
broken
And then all they got to do is go and sit and show them some attention and talk to them.
You know, I have this saying that I always tell people when I have conversation with them, mostly women, because a lot of times that we're talking about meeting men and not knowing, you know, why can't they find me attractive, or why can't I keep a man? And the first thing I tell them is that, what are you projecting? Because you attract what you project.
Yes.
And projection is such an interesting thing. It's so intricate because you don't know that you're projecting anything. You know, there's that saying where, you know, bees are drawn to honey, flies are drawn to.
Yes.
So, you know, you either projecting honey or you projecting crap.
Chanel.
So you need to be careful with that. But a lot of times you can't really see it, you know, as yourself. You don't see what you're projecting at all. Because as far as you're concerned, you're like, well, I'm a really good person. You're checking off all those boxes for yourself. And you're like, well, I'm good. I love God. You know, I'm really open. I'm not very specific. Okay, well, that's a flag. Why aren't you specific? You know, but you just go down this list and you're like, why me? Why not me? But you're projecting something, and these teenagers are projecting a lot, which is what is bringing those predators to their doorsteps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I swear, this time goes so fast. This hour goes so fast. But what I want you to do before we leave, I want you to let our audience know how they can get in contact with you, if you have any upcoming events that you have on the calendar. And this right now will be the time for you to do that.
Okay, well, as I mentioned earlier, my organization's name is notarunaway.org. You can find us on the internet at www.notarunaway.org. We have an upcoming event where we're partnering with my girlfriend's house right now. We're doing shelter room makeovers. We've got a couple of initiatives that we've got in place right now that we don't want to really project yet, but one of it is it has to do with changing the law, the Amber Alert law, where we feel like we want to add 2 more criteria to that. That will help at least that unspoken category of children that were not physically seen abducted, do not fall under the, you know, the criteria that I had mentioned earlier. So we're hoping that we can work with legislation and try to change those laws. That's what we're definitely working on right now. And of course, we have our annual Missing Children Awareness Day, which we just held one in August. We will be holding another one next year. We've got a few initiatives in the middle. This includes working with the school that Shirley went missing at.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And Jewel, let them know where they can contact you.
Definitely can be contacted via Facebook at An Earthing Embrace, as well as our website is www.aeeinc.org. Definitely, that's the best way to find us, because you can email us directly, and this is honestly not a pitch just for money, but we look for your donation in time, as well as please do reach out to us, as we are really out in the community, and technically we are nationwide. So we educate and look forward to working with you definitely in the future, and definitely want to speak on how we can help, because we're dedicated to making a change. So please do check us out.
Absolutely. So we just want to thank our guest Celine for being here one more time. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Hope I can come back.
You can, and you can come back anytime. If you have any initiatives or anything you want to get out, you can definitely let me know. We can come in and share that with our audience. And also, we want to thank Miss Jewel for being here with us. She was an awesome co-host. And so next month for September, we do have a celebrity co-host. We have 8-year-old James Collier. He will be here. So we will be opening up our platform to all youth and kid entrepreneurs. So you can definitely get in contact with me on Facebook at MBA Speak, or also at on Instagram at Mignon Brown Anderson. So I want to thank you for watching. We will see you next week at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us, and God bless. It's been a pleasure.